everyone know what you said. So.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the very first Middle Creek Coaches Show. We are broadcasting live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary, North Carolina. I am Ryan Magnuson, and I'm joined by Ryan Grover. We founded the Sports Block together in 2006, so we were more than happy to come back and host the Coaches Show for this season. So with that, we are obviously joined by head coach Mike Castellano. Coach, this being the first show, if you could just give everyone a brief background on yourself and your coaching philosophy.
Well, first off, we appreciate everybody that came out tonight. We appreciate Ruckus for having us out here, done a fabulous job supporting us. Also want to thank Johnson and Lamb, who also sponsored the show. A lot of great parents out here and players and coaches, and we appreciate time together in this situation. Our philosophy and background kind of is in football. We believe in trying to win what we're doing that day, whether it be in the classroom, whether it be on the field, in practice, watching film, whatever we're doing. As coaches, as players, luckily we have a lot of people, I think, that bought into that philosophy last year, and we're trying to maintain that.
Absolutely. So with this being preseason here, we're actually going to run a little highlight package from last season, talk about some of the plays from last year.
The first play you're going to see here, David Salmon, he's going to look left to the outside on a corner route by our second receiver. He's going to pump the ball there, and then he's going to throw a post to Curtis Burston, who's going to catch it for a touchdown. When we see the tight copy here, you'll see the pass protection. Ryan Dow is playing left tackle for us. And you'll see at the end he gets a late knockdown, which allows Ryan to get the ball out of his hands for a touchdown. A big play in the game for us, and obviously we want a lot more of those this year. Our second play right here, Quentin Ray, who's now actually playing basketball at Campbell, and we're very excited about him in his future. You're going to be a sweep to him. He's working across the screen. He gets the ball. As he works wide, if you watch this play, you'll see our running back right there makes a great block, not once but twice. That was an extra effort award we gave that week to Nayland Lopez for knocking two guys down and being unselfish to make sure he can have his teammate score. And you can see right here as he comes around, one block, knocks the guy out, next block, makes that, frees Quentin Ray up for the long touchdown run.
Now, do you consider you guys a balanced team on offense?
I believe we are. I think perception is that we throw the ball a lot, but last year we actually, I believe, ran it 40-some more times than we actually threw it. Huh? Third play right here. It's a play of David Salmon. He buys some time stepping up in the pocket, and there's a great catch made by Jeff Sladek. When he threw this ball, I remember every coach on the sideline saying, no, no, no. Once the ball was caught, we all went go, go, go. And you'll see Quentin Ray, again, working across the field late to spring his teammate after a great catch by Jeff Sladek. Right here, his teammate comes across the field, makes an extra block, and we score on a long touchdown. You'll see it better from this angle. He works across the field to help his teammate. It's a great job by David of getting the ball out of there. Coach Williams done a great job working pocket presence with him, making sure the ball gets out of his hands when it needs to. Again, we were a little nervous right about there when the ball was getting ready to come out of his hand. Luckily, he knew how to do it better than we did.
You consider yourselves a fast-paced team, or do you like to set the tempo, or do you like to run and gun?
Well, we're more of a fast break team on both sides of the football. Offensively, we're trying to get after it, up-tempo. Coach Bordeaux and our coaching staff does a great job with that. Defensively, we want to be fast break, high pressure, and same kind of system. The next play here is going to be Jay Shore. Makes a great catch on a well-placed ball by David. Both copies, if you'll watch Jay, he'll be to the left of the screen. This is one of those things that you work in practice, but very few kids can actually execute and do it. You'll see it in a tight copy as well. His foot placement, his footwork, it's a beautiful catch.
How tough is it to throw that ball into the corner like that?
Well, Coach Williams works a lot, and we'll tell you that he can teach him how to do it, but that's a pretty special throw. There's a reason that boy's playing Division I football now. The next play we're going to come to is going to be Devon Johnson on a long run. The impressive thing about this play is how unselfish the team became last year. Watch the wide receivers at the end of the play. Okay, Devon goes to the football. All of a sudden, guys are coming from the opposite side of the field right there to set up the long touchdown run. Most guys are going to take those plays off. Our guys really bought into being unselfish, being receivers who block, and that's how they got on the field, working for their teammates. And Devon's a pretty good player as well. And we're excited about him. He's going to play at Lewisburg next year, get a chance to continue his playing career.
So those kind of running plays, is that a zone blocking scheme or?
Right there we zoned it, but the key thing is you got to have blocking on the perimeter. You got to have guys willing to be unselfish, make plays on the outside, and those receivers right there did it. All right, the next play. Now, Coach Bordeaux is going to be on here today, so we focused a little more offense for him so he can talk to you about those. The next play, we had to go with a little bit of a defensive thought here. This is a play early in the year, a play action. Our corner's there. The ball gets tipped by the safety. Now, the impressive thing to me is you see all of our team working upfield to block. Little known fact is the guy who makes a tackle on an interception 90% of the time is the guy the ball was intended for. So you'll see number 5, DeJuan Young, actually run, turn around, and block the guy the ball is intended for right there, knocks him down, frees up the return, and we get a big play out of that. I believe we scored on that drive, and part of the reason we won that ball game.
Final one? All right, after having such a lot of team success in just your first year, how, as a head coach, do you keep that type of momentum going into your second and third year?
Well, really, it comes down to the coaches being excited, being there every day, and buying into what we're doing, and they set the example. Then next off, it goes down to the seniors. The seniors have to buy in. If they don't buy in, you're not successful. But you rely on your leadership through your coaches, through your players that are older to lead the program.
And you did mention it starts with coaching. You said you had a couple of new coaches on staff.
We do. We have one guy. These guys crack me up. They're all good guys. One guy is Coach Tenuta. Coach Tenuta's dad coached Division I level as a defensive coordinator at a lot of Division I universities. He's currently the assistant head coach, defensive coordinator at Virginia. We're excited about him. He's working with our young guys on the offensive line. He played tight end in college. Coach Calabria. Sometimes the best coaches you find are right there in front of you. He was a guy that was working at the school, and we kind of joked about him coaching. Next thing you know, I said, "Hey, Coach, come on out if you want and, hang around the weight room." He was there 3 weeks, and all of a sudden we decided, hey, he's a guy that, we're going to give a title to and give him the coaching T-shirt and let him coach for free like all of us do, and he's been a great addition. Also, Coach Cooper. Coach Cooper is Gabe Cooper. He played for us last year, and he's a guy that's going to go next year and play college football. But he's a guy we joke with that we know in 30 years he's still going to be coaching at Middle Creek because he's a Middle Creek guy through and through. He's working with our running backs. And then the last new one, if you haven't met this guy, you need to, is Coach Jacobs. Coach Jacobs is a unique guy. We got a chance to coach him and now coach with him. Coach Jacobs has never, ever, even in his sleep, he has high energy. He's a guy that loves the game of football. I've never met a guy that constantly loves football to this extent. And he said the other day at practice, I heard him say something to a young man. He said, "What are you talking about? You're tired." He goes, "This is the only fun I have in life. I come to practice, I coach football." And then he pulled out his checking card and said, "There's minus $32 on here because I love to coach." He wasn't kidding. I bought him lunch. But that's who he is. So Andre Jacobs is working with our inside backers. We're glad that he's here as well.
So after looking at the highlight package from last season, what are some of the big differences this year? How does the team look this year compared to last year?
Well, last year's team graduated. They're gone. So this year it's a whole new team. Right now we have a little more experience on the defensive side of the ball than we do the offensive side of the ball, but we do have guys on offense that can lead and can win ball games. They just have to realize they can step up and execute.
And those intangibles that we kind of talked about when we looking at the package with guys blocking downfield and going the extra mile, is that something that you guys work on in practice, or is that just something that comes naturally to some guys? Or?
Well, I would say we work on it in practice, but that wouldn't be a true statement. I've heard Coach Wilkes and Coach Ryder's voices after practice. It's something we stress during practice. The guys we want on the field aren't the most talented. They're the guys who will make the most plays, that will play unselfish. Hopefully those are the most talented guys, but sometimes it's not the case.
You talked a lot about being a team first, and your coaches showing that as well. Seeing as last year was your first season, at what point, or if there was a point, did you see your team buying into your system, and when did it become your team? When did it feel like that?
Well, when it felt like that, honestly, was there's a good-looking guy with a beard sitting over there named Coach Bordeaux. when he decided to stay, and the players have a lot of respect for that guy. When he decided to stay and be part of this program moving forward and become the offensive coordinator, I think that started the process.
And so I spent kind of half the day with you one day towards the end of a school day, and I noticed you checking up with a lot of players on their grades and making sure they were getting things in on time. How big an aspect is that in coaching when you have to balance the academics?
Well, honestly, I hate to say this, that's the most important thing, and that's the only thing that matters. Football is far down the line. Academics is the one thing we support completely. We want those kids to do well because when all is said and done, football is only 4 years. Your education is 40 years or the rest of your life. So if we can install in them that academics comes first and foremost, and it comes down to what you do in the classroom before it comes down to what you do in the field. So we spend a lot of time with that. Our coaches constantly ask those questions. We try to make that the main focus of what we do. And also there's a lot of teachers here tonight, and a lot of those teachers have volunteered their time to tutor our kids for free, to do things for them on a Friday afternoon. When they could be home with their family, their kids, and doing things they want to do. They've really helped us as well.
Well, Coach, real quick before we let you out here for the first time, just real quick, what are your team goals for this upcoming season?
Well, we have one team goal, and our guys here all can tell you, and it's simply to go 1-0. That means just win that day. If you win that day enough times, at the end of the year, you've had a great year. You can't look to what happened in the past. Can't worry about the future. Just win that day.
All right. If you have a question, make sure you tweet your question at and hashtag it SportsBlockAnswers if you have any questions for any of the guests that you see here tonight. When we come back, you are watching the Sports Block live at Ruckus Pizza, the Middle Creek Coaches Show. When we come back, we'll have Coach Bordeaux for you. We'll be right back.
Ruckus was started 11 years ago in Mission Valley Shopping Center as a couple of college guys that wanted to have great pizza, a great bar, and a good time.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
My favorite's the food, though.
Your favorite's the food? I think it's the staff.
Big TVs, great TVs. Wednesday trivia nights, there's just always something going on here. It's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, anytime you show up, there's always some different event.
Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. It's a very broad menu that has a great price point for today's time.
It's all homemade food, which I think is one thing that sets us apart. We get nothing in bagged or frozen or pre-made. It's all made in-house from scratch ingredients, and it's the best stuff we can buy.
We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
all right, enough about the big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza. Ruckus is the perfect restaurant for families and children. Great kids specials, half-price kids meals on Monday and Tuesday night.
And we're open till 2 a.m., so the ones that don't have kids can come out and stay as late as they want.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show here at Ruckus Pizza in Cary. We got a little rain now, so we'd like to thank everyone for braving the rain out here today. And if you're tuned in at home, streaming on sportsblock.net, we'd like to thank you for watching. We now have offensive coordinator Steve Bordeaux with us. So, Coach, like I asked Castellano for the first time, if you could just give everyone a brief background on yourself and your coaching philosophy.
Yeah, this is my 4th year at Middle Creek, 2nd year as offensive coordinator. Coached the offensive line for a few years now. So biggest thing offensive-wise is playing up-tempo, giving great effort every play.
So how hard has this offense worked in the off-season, and how prepared do you think they are going into the first game?
As a group, the offense and really the whole team in general has put a lot of work in the off-season, in the weight room, coming out for skill development all the way through the summer. 21-man workouts to 7-on-7. We've had great turnouts. We had 50-ish guys get 90% workouts being Iron Mustangs this year. So we've had some guys put in a lot of work. So this season we're looking to improve from last season, build upon it, and reach the potential of this team.
Yeah, I noticed when I peeked in the weight room at one point, there was a lot of guys in there, a lot more than we actually had back in 2007, probably twice as much. So, how important is that, especially on the offensive line?
Yeah, weight room is fundamental for football. It helps prevent injuries. Self-confidence on the field. It's one of the most important things. You may know what to do, but if you're not physically strong enough, it may not matter.
Well, when you're sitting down at the beginning of this season, you're obviously looking at personnel. How, first of all, how do you come up with your offense and what you want to do, and then what influences that in that decision making?
Yeah, we have a basic offensive concepts that we look to put forth each year, and then we try to piece the guys we have coming back skill position wise to kind of see what we can do from year to year. One year we may have to run the ball a whole lot more. The next year we might be passing a lot more, but it just depends on what we have coming back.
Yep.
Are there any teams, collegiate or professional, that you guys kind of look to sometimes when structuring the offense or the methodology?
There's several teams that run the fast break offense. West Virginia runs a lot of the same stuff we do. Now Cal is going to be running the same stuff this year with Coach Tony Franklin there. And even Carolina is starting to do some of the spread stuff. So that's some of the teams we kind of look at and enjoy watching.
When you present your team out on the field, what do you want your team to be known for in the area? When they're game planning for you, what do you want them to be afraid of?
Afraid that every play we're going to give 100% effort. Every play that whether we're backside, front side on a run, that we can break it. Every play is a chance for a touchdown.
Yep. Now before we let you go, got to ask this question to all the coaches. What is your team goals for the upcoming season?
This year's team goals is going to be the same as anyway. I'm going to pretty much echo what Coach said. We're really going to go 1-0 every day. If we get better each day, by the end of the season, by conference comes along, we'll be a better team and have a chance to compete and reach this team's potential.
Just want to thank Coach once again for joining us. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you tweet your answers at the Sports Block and hashtag it Sports Block Answers, and we'll try to get your questions out onto the show. You're watching the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza. We'll be right back with Rashid Farrell, the center for the Mustangs. We'll be right back.
Ruckus was started 11 years ago in Mission Valley Shopping Center as a couple of college guys that wanted to have great pizza, a great bar, and a good time.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
My favorite's the food, though.
your favorite's the food? I think it's the staff.
Big TVs, great TVs. Wednesday trivia nights, there's just always something going on here. It's my favorite part of Ruckus.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anytime you show up, there's always some different event.
Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. It's a very broad menu that has a great price point for today's time.
It's all homemade food, which I think is one thing that sets us apart. We get nothing in bagged or frozen or pre-made. It's all made in-house from scratch ingredients, and it's the best stuff we can buy.
We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
All right,
thin New
enough
York
about the
crust.
big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza. Ruckus is the perfect restaurant for families and children. Great kids specials, half price kids meals on Monday and Tuesday night.
And we're open till 2 a.m., so the ones that don't have kids can come out and stay as late as they want.
Broadcasting live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary, North Carolina. We are now joined by Rashid Farrell, the starting center for the Middle Creek Mustangs. Rashid, I'm going to ask you the same question. Could you just give everyone a little background about yourself?
Yes, I'm Rashid Farrell. I'm a center, senior at Middle Creek, and I play offensive line. And when I go to college, I'm looking to play to major in criminal law and justice.
Cool. So how is the offensive line and the offensive unit as a whole coming together right now after a long summer of preparation and some scrimmages?
We're coming along pretty good. You know, we gotta step it up. It's hard coming from losing 4 starter offensive linemen, but I think we can do it. Keep working hard. Keep up the intensity.
As a center in this offense, what are your responsibilities, from play to play and from game to game?
Get to the ball fast enough so we can keep the tempo. Make the right calls for our passing and hike the ball and block.
I know.
quarterback.
Besides the QB, they say the center has the most important job on the offense. Is that true?
Yeah, it's hard to concentrate and snap and keep the calls and everything at the same time.
I feel like a lineman would say that.
Do you enjoy that aspect of it, having to make some decisions?
Yeah, it's fun. I get to lead everyone.
So you mentioned a little bit about what you maybe want to study after high school. Do you know where you want to go? Do you have any idea?
I've looked into Central, North Carolina Central.
Cool.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how the coaching staff have been putting you guys to work during the off season? You talked briefly about how you need to step it up. What have you guys been doing over the summer months?
Going to lifting weights, running a lot, and then just going over plays and working hard, trying to go 1-0 every day.
So we saw a couple of those running plays in there, some zone blocking schemes and stuff. What are more of your favorite plays to run?
Screen plays.
Yeah.
I like
to get out there and
screens.
run?
Yeah, blindside people.
Well, before we let you go, last question is always, what are the these teams' goals heading in? Because you guys put up an impressive record last season. What are your goals heading into this season?
As Coach C said, we want to go 1-0 every day and keep up the intensity. That's really it.
Well, we want to, thank you for joining us, Rashid. And we are watching the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza from Middle Creek Coaches. So we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Ruckus was started 11 years ago in Mission Valley Shopping Center as a couple of college guys that wanted to have great pizza, a great bar, and a good time.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week, and
My favorite's the food, though.
your favorite's the food. I think it's the staff.
Big TVs, great TVs, and Wednesday trivia nights. There's just always something going on here. It's my favorite part of Ruckus.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, anytime you show up, there's always some different event.
Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. It's a very broad menu that has a great price point for today's time.
It's all homemade food, which I think is one thing that sets us apart. We get nothing in bagged or frozen or pre-made. It's all made in-house from scratch ingredients, and it's the best stuff we can buy.
We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
All right,
thin
enough
New York
about the
crust.
big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza. Ruckus is the perfect restaurant for families and children. Great kids specials, half price kids meals on Monday and Tuesday night.
And we're open till 2 a.m., so the ones that don't have kids can come out and stay as late as they want.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show here at Ruckus Pizza in Cary, North Carolina. And we are now joined by AD Jeremy Thompson. Mr. Thompson, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Jeremy Thompson. I'm going into my 9th year at Middle Creek High School. Been a baseball coach for the previous 8 years, and now I'm stepping into the role as athletic director.
So can you talk a little bit about that transition and how different it is?
Oh, absolutely. I've been very used to being in the classroom for my 6 to 8 hours a day, and then stepping out on the ball field, getting to work with some great young people, mowing a lot of grass, and then getting to call it a day after 12, 14 hours. Now I go into work and sit down in the office for 12 or 14 hours a lot of times. I do get to talk to several of our coaches each day and make sure everything's going well, and that's an exciting role for me.
Well, you spoke on it a little bit in that answer, but can you just give us, from beginning to end, just what's a typical day in the life of an athletic director?
Well, absolutely. We get in the office, at least for now, in the off season, getting to the office by between 7, 8 o'clock every day. I typically like to take a little bit of time, maybe go visit a little football practice or watch the volleyball team for a few minutes. Kind of gets my motor going every day and why I'm at work and why I like to be there is for our young people. Then I'll typically sit down, answer emails, make some phone calls back if needed. This summer we've done a whole lot as far as scheduling, making sure we had the right teams and making sure everybody in our school is going the same direction, same games. In the afternoon, typically I get to talk to some coaches a couple times, make sure everything went well at practice that day. And then the rest of the day I kind of plan preparing for the next day.
So you mentioned watching football a little bit. So what have you learned about football since becoming the AD at Middle Creek?
Well, I've learned there is a lot of moving parts, more so than I ever really thought about. The coaching staff does an absolutely wonderful job of splitting a large number of people up, getting a fundamental work, and at the same time keeping that team concept, making sure they're all pulling in the same direction. And I was really excited about their goal of 1-0 every day they go out there, and they've carried that not only for getting ready for games, but in the practice every day, get better, make it count, and that's been fun to watch.
Well, as you make that transition from coach to athletic director, I know you have plenty of moments to choose from as the baseball coach. But what was your greatest memory as a coach?
Well, I think the obvious answer is probably in 2012, winning the state championship. But it wasn't just that one day. It wasn't just that one game. It was seeing a team of individuals really come together and grow. About halfway through the season, we kind of bought into the philosophy that we wanted to be a family. We wanted to have one goal and just enjoy playing every day. And that group of young people, they did. They came together, and they became a really special group, made a great run through the playoffs. And part of the reason we won the state championship was because they didn't want to come out the next day and not be able to play. They wanted to keep playing. And even after we won the state championship, it was a little sad because we didn't get to go play the next day, even though we were happy to win it all.
So what changes have you guys made to the athletic department or just in general that have benefited the athletic department?
Well, one thing we're really lucky about is we have some absolutely excellent coaches, and they know about their sport. They're experts at that. They're experts dealing with young people. They're experts dealing with our community. So it's been a very smooth transition in that way. One of the things I've really tried to do is make sure we just had much better communications between the administration about rules and different changes in the rules, and about the direction our whole entire athletic program wants to keep moving in order to be the best we can possibly be.
One last question: What do you think about the show? As the athletic director of the program, how do you feel about this?
This is absolutely awesome. It's one of the reasons that I love being at Middle Creek, and there's probably a lot of places I wouldn't want to be the athletic director at, but Middle Creek's such a great place. The sports block does such a great job. Our football staff and players, they're just excellent, and it's one of the reasons I love Middle Creek. Nobody else in the state can do some of the things that we do.
Well, thank you, Coach, for joining us. A few of you have texted or tweeted your questions in to us. Don't worry, we didn't forget. We're saving them for the coach when he comes back at the end. But when we come back, we have the principal of Middle Creek High School, Mr. Wade Martin. You're watching the Sports Block live at Ruckus Pizza. This is the Middle Creek Coaches Show.
Ruckus was started 11 years ago in Mission Valley Shopping Center as a couple of college guys that wanted to have great pizza, a great bar, and a good time.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
You know, my favorite's the food, though.
your favorite's the food? I think it's the staff.
Big TVs, great TVs. Wednesday trivia nights, there's just always something going on here. It's my favorite part of Ruckus.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, anytime you show up, there's always some different event.
Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. It's a very broad menu that has a great price point for today's time.
It's all homemade food, which I think is one thing that sets us apart. We get nothing in bagged or frozen or pre-made. It's all made in-house from scratch ingredients, and it's the best stuff we can buy.
We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
All right,
thin
enough
New York
about the
crust.
big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza. Ruckus is the perfect restaurant for families and children. Great kids specials, half price kids meals on Monday and Tuesday night.
And we're open till 2 a.m., so the ones that don't have kids can come out and stay as late as they want.
Welcome back to the Coaches Show, the Middle Creek Coaches Show here at Ruckus Pizza in Cary. We are now joined by Principal Wade Martin. Principal, thank you for joining us, and if you could just talk a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure. First of all, thanks to Sports Block and Ruckus Pizza for hosting this event. What a great opportunity for Middle Creek to talk about its programs and just show what we have to offer to the community. This is my second year. I'm going into my second year as the principal at Middle Creek High School. It's been a fast-paced, certainly learning opportunity for me, having previously been a middle school principal for 5 years. Was a teacher and coach and assistant principal at high school, so I certainly felt like I was coming back home to high school, but it's a little bit different when everybody looks to you for the final answer, I guess.
Yeah. So you said this is your second year. So your first year, as you came on, the baseball team won a state championship. So how was that to kind of begin athletics like that?
that was just a tremendous experience. I would certainly say that I know that the previous principal who left Middle Creek, John Williams, probably regrets leaving the 6 months earlier, because had he been there and finished out the year instead of leaving mid-year, he would have had that opportunity. But he was certainly there right along with me, cheering on the Middle Creek baseball. But it was just a tremendous opportunity because it gave me an opportunity to get to know the community through the excitement that experience generated for not just the players, but the parents and the staff and all of the Stampede Club members that really do just countless hours and effort to support the athletic program.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I hear that your daughter obviously plays sports here at Middle Creek. I just want to know, what that dynamic is like, being obviously the principal of the school, but also being a student parent. And is that hard to juggle? And what's that dynamic like?
Well, it's been nothing but positive for me. As I said previously, prior to coming to Middle Creek High School, I was at Martin Middle School, and my daughter was actually attended Martin Middle School as well. So far, she's only a 10th grader, so it's still cool to somewhat be the principal's daughter, so to speak, but I'm sure that will change as she gets closer to her senior year. But it's really given me a great opportunity to gain a perspective as a parent on just the impression that we as a school and the coaching staff, it helps, I would say it helps me make certain decisions easier because I certainly can see it from the parent perspective. And it's been a great opportunity also for me, again, just to build the relationships with the community as a parent.
Yeah, so I asked Mr. Thompson the same question, but I'm also interested to hear your answer, what you've learned about football since being principal.
Well, my experience working with Middle Creek football actually started on my second day. I didn't even know my way around the school, and I was actually sitting down in final round interviews to hire the football coach. And as I talked with parents and staff members from other schools, many of my supporters, as I was making that transition, said, this is probably the biggest decision you're going to make in your career as a Middle Creek principal. If you make the wrong decision, you may only be there for a short time. So I've learned to, I'm one of Coach Castellano and his staff's biggest fans. He's really come in, communicated a vision for the program, and again, echoing what Coach Thompson talked about, until you are really close to a high school football program, you don't really understand how much time, effort, energy in the off season, even during the season, the late nights, the little details and effort that they put in to really pull together a successful program. I think a lot of the success that Middle Creek has experienced with Coach Castellano and previously with the coach before him is that commitment to putting in the time. It's all about doing the best job they can do for our student athletes, and it's just a tremendous opportunity and experience for our players.
Yeah.
This final question needs to be asked just because it was brought up, while we were setting up for this first show, and people found out that you were going to be one of the guests. They always brought up this one thing, and I need to know, the deal behind it. But they brought up the student faculty basketball game last year. Can you tell us about that, please?
I think not only last year but the year before, students and staff were quite surprised to see the principal suit up and join the faculty playing against the seniors. It's been one of those experiences that I've enjoyed. When I was, interestingly, when I was at the middle school, we didn't play against the students, we played against the parents. So it was a faculty versus parent game. And
those must have gotten ugly.
Well, my most recent injury was a torn ACL, and that was during the parent-faculty basketball game. So that's really taken a little bit off my stride and my jump shot, but I certainly really love getting involved with athletics on all aspects.
Just want to again thank you, Mr. Martin, for coming out and joining us. Once again, you are watching the Coaches Show live at Ruckus, the Middle Creek Coaches Show. Coming up next will be Coach Castellano for a second appearance. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Excuse me.
Ruckus was started 11 years ago in Mission Valley Shopping Center as a couple of college guys that wanted to have great pizza, a great bar, and a good time.
Ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
You know, my favorite's the food, though.
your favorite's the food? I think it's the staff.
Big TVs, great TVs, Wednesday trivia nights. There's just always something going on here. It's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, anytime you show up, there's always some different event.
Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. It's a very broad menu that has a great price point for today's time.
It's all homemade food, which I think is one thing that sets us apart. We get nothing in bagged or frozen or pre-made. It's all made in-house from scratch ingredients, and it's the best stuff we can buy.
We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
All right,
thin New
enough
York
about the
crust.
big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza. Ruckus is the perfect restaurant for families and children. Great kids specials, half price kids meals on Monday and Tuesday night.
And we're open till 2 a.m., so the ones that don't have kids can come out and stay as late as they want.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show for our final segment here at Ruckus Pizza in Cary. We are joined once again by head coach Mike Castellano. Coach, so we had a scrimmage or two canceled earlier, but we did play one this morning, correct?
We did. We scrimmaged Millbrook High School this morning. It was a half practice and a half scrimmage. You know, every time you do something competitively, you're going to have a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. We're in the process of breaking down the film right now to see what those exactly were. We know we have some work to do on both sides of the ball. We thought we had some guys on offense. Terry Patterson, we thought, did a pretty decent job. Curtis Burston had some big blocks, a couple big catches for us as well on defense. We thought Anthony Mitchell showed some flashes of being a really good football player. Terry Patterson as well did good on that side of the ball. Josh Guest came out of nowhere and had a lot of productive plays for us. Also, Terrence White had 2 interceptions. One was a phenomenal play. He's a very gifted athlete. We just have to get him to do it full time. And Warren Metzer had some good plays for us.
Nice. So when you approach these scrimmages and off-season training like this, what kind of balance are you looking for going into the scrimmage? Are you focusing on these players individually mostly, or are you also trying to test out some new plays, some new material for the team?
It's a little bit of both. We don't scheme or game plan for scrimmages. We don't look at the score. We look at the production on the field by the players, which players are making the plays happen for us that we can count on down the road. There'll be times today we worked on some things that we hadn't done in the past, offensively and defensively, just to see how they looked on film. The rest of the time, you kind of know what your systems are and what you're trying to do as a program, trying to figure out who can actually do it for you.
Now, Coach, we did have a couple of people, or we have 2 questions, both from the same person. Jacqueline Dunn sent in 2 questions. First, Coach C, what values do you try to instill in your players?
Well, we live by 3 basic rules. One is you don't steal. You don't steal from your teammates, each other, anybody else. We don't ever do that. If you need something bad enough, come ask a coach. If you're really desperate, we'll help you. The second is we don't believe in race. When you're one team, you wear the same uniform. Uniform means same throughout. That's a definition, and we believe that to be our team, our school, our community. So we focus on not doing that. And then our third thing we try to instill in our young men is don't disrespect females. You're never going to get anywhere in life doing that, whether it be a teacher, a mom, a sister of yourself, somebody else. Respect those females.
Well, Jacqueline Dunn had a second question, and that is a good segue. She says, Coach C, way to break the glass ceiling. Do you anticipate more female players in the future?
Well, we have a saying. We play favorites, and our favorites are the ones who can make plays. those are our favorite players. If they're male, female, it doesn't matter to us. And I know actually the first time Kimmy got into a game last year, Jacqueline Dunn and her husband Kevin were there at the game, and I hadn't told them prior we had a female kicker. It really didn't occur to me to tell everybody. And I remember afterwards they made a comment that they were very happy about that. And it broke a lot of news, but more than anything, the funny thing about Kimmy, she went through every tryout, and I told her, if you miss a tryout, if you miss a volunteer deal, I'm not sure you're going to make this team. We got the tryouts. Our coaches sat there in a meeting. We had to cut 40 kids, and we brought her name up. And the fascinating thing was every coach said she earned that jersey. No way we can take it from her. So, again, it doesn't matter who you are. It's whether you can do it or not.
That's awesome. So, Coach, final question before we wrap up the show. There's a scrimmage this morning. What's up next for this Middle Creek football team?
Well, we get back on the practice field tomorrow. Our JVs had a day off, so they'll be back out with us again. And then on Saturday, we will scrimmage the high school OT, Southeast Raleigh at 5:30 against Heritage. Heritage is a good football team, and they have very similar offense. A couple teams we face. One is Holly Springs that put a lot of points on the board against us, and the other one's Leedsville. So we're looking forward to that challenge to see who improves from today to Friday to see what we can do. So we're looking forward to it.
Thanks, Coach. Before we close, we just want to thank Ruckus for having us out here. Thank you to everybody who came out tonight. Thank you to the fans and everybody watching at home. Want to thank Johnston and Lamb for helping put on this event as well, along with Ruckus. Join us again next Tuesday and every Tuesday. You can join us here at Ruckus, or you can join us online at www.sportsblock.net, or follow us on Twitter at SportsBlock, capital MCHS. Thank you guys for watching. This is the Sports Block.